Okay, guys, I'm going to try and attempt question 2 on the test again in Texter, so it's easier to read. Before we can tackle this question, we need to identify one law or one rule, the negative power rule. So if you have anything to the negative power, if you want to actually convert it to a positive, all you do is just bring it down and change the power. Now, if it's, for example, if we have this one here, then if we have a negative power there, to make this a positive, we just bring it up, but we change the power to a negative, from negative to a positive. Okay. Now, one element within this question that I notice a lot of students that where they faltered is that this plus, they actually think that it's the first index rule, which it's not. The first index rule is when you have two bases that are the same but are multiplied together between each other. This one is added between each other, so you keep it separate and you don't apply the first rule or the first law. So what we'll do is take this separate, take that separate, find out what the answer will be, and then we'll combine them together. So that's what we're going to try and do, inshallah. This question here, 2 to the power of negative 2 is pretty much 1 over 2 to the power of positive 2 plus 1 over 2 to the power of positive 3. Now when we look at this fraction, it's pretty much 1/4 plus 1/8. Now I'm going to bring this back up here and do 1/4 plus 1/8, 1 over 8 again. And now going back to the previous years, we should know that when you want to add a fraction, you need to make sure that the denominators are the same. I'm just going to try and make the denominators 8. Because we have an 8 here, we can easily make this 8. To make this easily 8, we multiply by 2. If I multiply the bottom by 2, I should multiply the top by 2. So our new fraction will be 2/8 plus 1/8. And the answer would be 3/8. Moving on to the next question. Pretty much another common mistake that a lot of students do in this question is that, yes, it's great that it has a division, but the bases are not the same. So you can't apply the second law, which is where you just subtract the powers. Why? Because the bases are not the same. So now what we'll do is we'll do the same thing that we did in 2a. So we'll keep them separate for now. So this, when we convert it into a positive power, it'll be 1 over 4 to the power of 3 divide 1 over 2 to the positive 5. Now, I'm going to simplify this. I know that 4 to the power of 3 is 64. So it'll be 1 over 64 divided by 1 over 32. Now this is where a lot of students will get mistakes. Unfortunately, in this test, we were not allowed to have a calculator. So going back to previous year's maths, when we're dividing fractions, we should know that we keep this the same. We don't change this, but we change the division to a multiplication and we flip that. So if I had to rewrite this again, and when I used to teach this to my kids, I would say copy, change this, and flip this. So CCF, copy, change, flip. So I'll copy 1/64, divide, changes to multiplication, and then I'll flip this. So I'll just find the reciprocal of 1 over 32, which is 32 over 1. Now, you probably can see that this is equal to 1 times 32 over 64 times 1, which is 32 over 64. So the answer is equal to a half. Why? Because if we simplify the top and the bottom, eventually you'll get a half. Last question. Pretty much, let's ensure that before we can simplify or find out the results, let's make all the powers a positive. Now, I know what 3 squared is, but I don't know what 6 to the power of negative 2 is. But I'm pretty sure we all know what 6 to the power of positive 2 is. So let's convert all of the powers to a positive. So let's do 1 over, let's keep this as 3 to the power of 2. But because this needs to be converted into a positive, I'm going to bring it to the top and I change the power to a positive. Now, let's rewrite this again. It's pretty much 1 times 6 squared is 6 squared over 3 squared. And then what is 6 squared? We know it's 36. And 3 squared is 9. And what's 36 divided by 9? Well, the answer is 4. Thank you.